Okay, so I would want to try to present like with the full screen with my little webcam in the corner, but since this is a rough draft and I need to figure that out for the final draft, I'm gonna figure that out later. But for now, since I need to get this submitted, I'm gonna present like this. So it's not the greatest, but here's what I'm gonna do. But I decided to do the playwright by Sandy Austin Clue for my play production response. Oh no. Okay, there we go. Okay, so a little introduction is that Clue is an adaptation of the original board game, and then it was turned into a movie, and then it was finally adapted into a play. It's based on the board game Clue, murder mystery, but it also meets a comedy that involves six strangers meeting at an unknown mansion. There's Miss Scarlet, Miss Peacock, Miss White, Colonel Mustard, Professor Plum, and Mr. Green, Yvette, and Wadsworth. They take us through a mystery full of twists and turns, murder, and blackmail. To continue with the introduction, the reason why I chose this piece was because of the significance it had with with my childhood. Playing Clue was one of my favorite board games growing up, and I played it with my cousins all the time, countless times. And yeah, just being an overall staple, it holds a lot of fond memories of playing it with my family and friends. And it was also, I remember watching the actual movie adaptation too, and just being able to connect like the movie adaptation to the actual like play and reading the script and everything. I feel like I was able to tie pieces together. My first impression was definitely nostalgia. Playing the board game Clue, like I said, became such a staple in my childhood, and reading the play brought the characters to life. And it also kind of developed a story for the classic game like that we all know. So, what I think the purpose of the play is and what it's trying to do, I think it's purely based on entertainment. Um, since it kind of aims to, it's more like satire, kind of. That's what I picked up on it. There's no like really moral story coming out at the end of it, but it's kind of like a twist and like comic turn for like the classic like who done it situation. Because the characters just exaggerate it, and the what you think would be normal expectations at the end of the play, it's really not what happens. So lots of twists and turns throughout this play. Okay, so actors and who I would choose for let's see if I can move myself because I think it's blocking someone. There we go. So for the actors that I chose, like when the reason why I chose these was because when I was reading the script, I think who would best ideally for me fit for me, like while I'm reading this, who am I thinking of, right? So for Wadsworth, I chose Colin Firth. I feel like he's very like sophisticated, like the roles that he plays, more of a sophisticated, well-developed man, and that's what I kind of got from Wadsworth a little bit. Yvette, I chose Eva Green. She's actually a French actress as well, which I thought to be kind of fitting. I know she's in a couple movies like Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, and I feel like she's a little bit more sophisticated, but I feel like she can play off like a flirty role as well as like Yvette does. For Miss Scarlet, I chose none other than Emma Stone. Emma Stone is probably one of my favorite actresses of all time. I think she's just funny, kind of laid back, but then she can also play like a bunch of different roles too. So I feel like she's very, I guess, like diverse in the roles that she plays. For Miss Peacock, I chose Julia Roberts. I feel like she's a well mature woman, actress, all the above, and that's what I kind of got from Miss Peacock. Miss White, I chose Christine Baranski. The main reason why I chose this was because of her several marriages before Miss White um, in the play Clue. And I don't know why, like Mamma Mia just popped in my head and her character that she plays. I feel like they kind of go a little bit hand in hand. So I kind of took a little bit of a different direction with like the classic Mrs. White being like an older woman. Yeah, she's a little bit old, but I feel like she's kind of gussied up for her age, you know? Then for Colonel Mustard, specifically, I chose Nick Offerman as in his role as Parks and Recreation. Um, just that whole character, like it just, I feel like there was no other way. And plus, he can be like a like he can work with like a comedy setting and stuff like that, but then also be serious at the same time. So I thought that was a good mix. For Professor Plum, I chose Will Smith because I took a little bit of different approach with him as well because I feel like he can play a little bit like more arrogant roles, and that's what I kind of picked up for Professor Plum. I feel like he can also play a little bit more smarter roles as well. So I feel like that was a good mix. And then for for Mr. Green, I chose Matthew Gray Goober just based off Criminal Minds. Like he can be very anxious, but also smart. But he's more of like that anxious character role, and that's what I picked up from Mr. Green. Okay, for themes that I picked up was like what message was kind of getting out from this, and I think this play was purely for entertainment purposes only. There's really no deeper meaning behind the play besides the fact it keeps you second guessing, it keeps you entertained, it keeps you on your toes. The witty dialogue, the unexpected plot twists, and then the overall humor. It doesn't really display like specific message or moral lessons. Okay, for costumes, I kind of took the more of 1950s business fashion attire. Um, so when playing like the actual board game, the original board game that I had, it was an older version of Clue. So a lot of the characters dressed more professionally, but you could tell like the style was definitely older. So I thought that the 50s fashion, like with the women with the tight waistline, but like the pencil skirts as well, I thought that was looked very professional. And I feel like it kind of fit the story as well. And then men like with the long trousers and then the long sports coats look very like slender. And then the color choices, I kind of wanted to keep traditional. Like I looked up the Clue play, like what the actors they wore, and I kind of want to take on that role as well as creating those vibrant colors and matching with those characters, like the little peg pieces on the board. Like Miss Scarlet was obviously red, so she's going to be wearing lots of vibrant reds and rich colors like that. Okay, and finally for sound effects, I feel like doors creaking or slamming can create suspense as well as footsteps walking to our way can add that little suspension or eerie feeling in the background. Music for entrance and exit of actors and actresses coming in and off. Kind of like I want to take a more mysterious but a little bit whimsical because it can match the tone of the character too, but also bring in that comedic relief. For the interlude, again, I kind of want a more whimsical beat to maintain the comedy, like I said. But I also want the dramatics of it all and the suspenseful music to keep you second guessing and on your toes and stuff like that. And then for like the kind of instruments I took to keep with the 1950s theme, I kind of wanted to do piano, guitar, bass, saxophone, classic stuff that you think of like 1950s. That's what I thought of. So that is my rough draft. Definitely got to work